This is the third day in a row that I'm reviewing a statue doing this new format, and I've asked you guys over and over if you like it, and I'm not getting much feedback. Kinda like when I'm in bed with Mrs. X. To give back to you guys, the Extreme Channel is giving away this giant Goro statue from PCS for our 20,000 sub giveaway. If you want to know how to win this, I'll tell you a little bit later in this video. Hey guys, again, thanks for tuning in. If you missed the last few days, I'm doing a new formatted review. It's shorter, we still cover everything in detail, and I've asked for your feedback. I've only gotten a little bit of feedback, and most people don't like it, and the analytics on YouTube say that you don't like it either. So this is probably the last day we're going to do it, and then we're going to go back to the traditional format. But today we're reviewing a custom, means it's a private unlicensed commission, 1/4 scale WeaponX / Wolverine piece. And this piece is highly anticipated for many reasons. Reason number one, this is actually produced by the same private commissioner that did what most people consider to be a Grail WeaponX statue right here. However, this is done by a different sculptor. The other reason this is highly anticipated is I actually own a WeaponX piece that I love. This one from XM Studios, sculpted by another great sculptor, Daniel Bell. Now the question is this one better? Now while we're not going to answer that today, we are going to answer that in a few days. That's right, we are going to have an Extreme Rumble or an Extremble. We're going to do a video comparison between both of those pieces. So make sure you not only like this video, but you hit that subscribe button and bell notification so you can catch that. Now if you're watching this video, chances are you probably know who WeaponX is. WeaponX is actually Wolverine. Shortly after he had the adamantium, which is an indestructible metal fused to his bones, he was kind of under control, and that's a pretty loosely used term, of the US government. This statue right here kind of insinuates right when he escaped or broke out from them. You can still see he has a lot of the control modules and helmet, but he's outside in the snow because this was traditionally thought this was housed somewhere up north, whether it was in Canada or the United States. And a few different WeaponX pieces have that snow homage on the base. This one is sculpted by the great Franco Carlissimo, and I want to say this is probably, no joke, the 13th or 14th Wolverine statue that I've owned, sculpted by Franco Carlissimo. Some of my favorite statues are by him, including this piece right here, this Logan soldier piece, probably one of my favorite Wolverine pieces, and this samurai piece you can actually check out the review on. Now that he's finally here, there's definitely some things that I question on this statue, but overall, I'm going to let you know right now, it's a huge winner. I'm a big fan. And what's interesting about this is, this was not the original statue. I actually had this piece on order right here. So they were coming out with a new WeaponX piece and I wanted to pick it up, and I wasn't a huge fan of this pose. Then at the last minute they released, hey, we'll do two versions, one with this running pose and the other like this. So I instantly switched to this guy and I have no regrets. Now, I'm not going to show you the unboxing assembly, and I'll explain why while we look at the specifications. Check it out. So it was a very manageable box, which is kind of nice for a change. Had a small art box on the top. This is version 2. The running pose was version number 1. And your standard custom black foam and straps. It had one layer. Everything was packed very well. For the most part, no big issues when it comes to things broken or of that nature. Now the reason I didn't show the assembly on camera is you can see the key and peg were way off. I had to use a hairdryer and pray that it didn't break to finally get it to set in correctly. The other big issue were all of these wires. You had 6 or 7 different wires and who knows what hooks up to where. So you can see right here I haven't even figured it out completely. And that includes some of the stuff going into the helmet. There was a bunch of holes in the helmet, but not stuff that actually goes into the helmet. So a little difficult to figure out. He does stand at 17 inches tall, about 14.5 wide, and then the deepest point is about 10 inches. However, the base is much more compact than that. It's nice the base doesn't take up much room. He retailed right around $1,500, about $1,550 plus a couple $100 shipping. Now they made 70 of this version, and I think they made a similar edition size of version 1. So there's about 140 of these out there, if I'm not mistaken. Lastly, you do have 3 different portraits. So here is the first one, which I am not a fan of at all. In fact, it's going straight back in the box. Then here is another one without the helmet on, where his hair is blowing in the wind. I like this one a lot more than I thought I would. Other than you can see the back of his throat. It's kind of hard to tell in the pictures, but in real life it's pretty evident. But the one that takes the cake is the one with the helmet. This is by far the best one in my opinion. I'm a big fan, and it does also have a cool light up feature you can see right here. So definitely some issues there, however nothing that I couldn't overcome. Now we're going to change the format a little bit today. Instead of looking at close-up pictures, I'm going to do close-up video because I really want to capture a lot of the paint and sculpt on this because it's really, really good. So check it out. So let's dive right in, starting with the base here. I really like it. I think they did a nice job on the bottom part of the base here. They add a little bit of yellow to the dark grays and blacks, and then some of the snow powder on the side, and the sculpting of it, kind of the ridges look fantastic. The snow, I think they also did a nice job. It doesn't have that crystal effect that sometimes you see on some snow painted statues, but overall looks like real snow. I like the layering on it. Really well done. Let's look at his skin tone. So two things going on here. First, I want to look at the hair. So you do see some body hair. It's not overpowering. This is kind of a hair up on the thigh. You typically don't see as much, and you can see the veins underneath it, but I like it. I think they pulled it off well. The other thing, I want to look at the skin color. So you see some redness, not just around the nodules, which look fantastic. I love when they do that because you kind of assume that he's continually trying to heal around that, but a little bit other red areas on the skin tone. Now, I think this is probably accurate. You got to figure he's just released himself out into the snow. It's probably cold, so his skin would not necessarily be a normal color. So I love what they did with the skin color. Fantastic job. I equally love the anatomy. Wolverine bulked out, the veins, the muscles, the biceps, the back, the position. I think they did an awesome job on that. Now, some of the tubes, as you see, are actually sculpted in here. They're not the pliable, bendable wires that we talked about during the assembly. He has these straps on him that are kind of holding up his helmet, and the cases here we'll look at. They look fantastic. They look real. The paint on this is incredibly clean. These boxes could look a little better. Look a little toyish on the buttons. The realism on this statue is fantastic other than the boxes, but they still look good. Still clean paint job. I think it's this color of the buttons I'm not digging. His pants look great, some cool texture and some seams in there, and some shadowing on the green. Really well done. Check out his spine because he's arched over. Metal claws. So let's look at the portraits. Two different things going on here as well. First, he's looking down. I originally was going to display this on a bottom shelf, but that's probably not going to be plausible because you really will just be seeing it from up here, which I think is a big miss. So his helmet looks great. I like the intricate detail in here. You see a little bit of circuitry, and I like the coloring they used on it. Let's look at his portrait. So there's a little bit of controversy around his chin. A lot of people really bashing on the chin, saying it looks like a ball sack. It does. I can get past it though. I mean, from right here, not really that big of a deal. And look at the paint job on the mouth itself. Inside the mouth, the teeth, the tongue. Great job. His hair, we'll look at that on another portrait. I'm really digging this portrait. I would have preferred without that on the bottom, but my eyes aren't immediately drawn to that. And here is the other portrait I'll display. Like I said, the other one I just put back in the box. Not a huge fan of this. A lot of the same things going on. I like the flow of the hair. The fierce, intense look on his eyes. I'm most likely going to display this one because I think it looks 10 times better, not only from the conceptual piece of the story. Yeah, I said conceptual piece, but it just looks better in general. And I have about 50 portraits that look similar to this that are sculpted by Franco. So I'm really digging, especially this portrait. I think it's done really well, and it's complemented by every other part of the statue. This is a pretty incredible piece when you look at the paint and sculpt. Really well done, not only the initial renders, but the execution. Very, very professional. Now, does this statue have the X factor? Is it a 5 out of 5 statue? Well, it's from an X-Man. He's crossing his arms like an X. Even though that has nothing to do with it, I still think this is an X statue. This is a 5 out of 5. I am really impressed with this piece. Now, is it the best WeaponX statue ever made? That original Grail I talked about, I've actually never seen in person. The XM Studios one, I like quite a bit, so we're not going to answer that today. We'll answer that in the future video. To win this Goro statue, first thing you got to do is make sure you've liked this video, you've actually subscribed to the channel, and you've hit that bell notification. Second thing is leave a comment below, and make sure it's a witty, entertaining, or funny comment. Because when we hit 20,000 subscribers, I'm going to pick a random video, and the comment that has the most likes on it will be the winner of this Goro statue. So make sure your comment is entertaining to others and entertaining to Mr. X. because if I like it, I'm actually going to pin it to the tops to help you get more likes. But I really appreciate you guys tuning in to check this out and share it with me. Definitely a winner. I'm going to keep this one and probably the XM one for sure because they are both fantastic, but we will figure out what's better. So make sure to hit that Mr. X logo to subscribe. Make sure to hit that like button on the way out and check out some of these other custom statues. Talk to you soon. Take